So just give a few more minutes for everybody to join in, that's able to join in tonight. If you haven't already poured your paint out on your plate, you want to grab that plate, put out a little bit of each of those colors, leave some space in between for mixing. I've been reusing this plate a lot, so it's got a lot of different colors on it. But I will have another plate to show you when we mix our own colors.
It's not a video, Tanya. She's doing it live.
Hold on.
And make sure you have a paper towel, water cup, your brushes, some art clothes, maybe a snack, maybe some good music. And as you can see, we're painting this awesome lotus flower, Buddha, universe painting. Feeling very zen. It's going to be the last painting of this adult series. We do have our portrait drawing that's going to be coming up on Friday. So that'll be the last of this kit, but I am in the midst of creating some more kits, and we will be announcing that this weekend. So got some really great ideas in the works, and I'm really excited about it. So stay tuned. And we got 2 minutes, and I'll get started unless anybody needs a little bit more time. Sorry, just trying to.
Hi, Jess.
Hello. Let's go, Patty.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries. You're right on time. Haven't started yet. Just making sure that your paints are poured. You got your water cup, paper towel, brushes, maybe a snack, some tunes. And like a minute or so, I'm gonna get started. Is this good? Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. All right, so I'm gonna get started, and if anybody else does join in, I will, catch them up as we go. So
We need all
what
colors.
we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be starting with our medium brush. That's that square, smaller brush. And we are going to be making a light orange kind of color. We're going to be starting with our lotus flower right here, kind of in the center, being mindful that we're leaving space on the top for just the top of the Buddha head and a little bit of space on the bottom to get our universe in. So we're going to take some of that red, just a little bit of the red, and yellow, more yellow than red for sure. And then you're going to take a scoop of white. And you are going to give that a mix and get a light orange. Mine's a little darker so that you guys will be able to see it on the screen, but you can imagine like a shade lighter than this. If it got really dark, just take a scoop of that, put it to a new pile, and then add white to that. If you keep adding white to this dark pile, it's not really going to get lighter. You're just going to be making more paint. So you just want to change the ratio a little bit. And once we have that light kind of peach color.
Wait, sorry, can you repeat which colors you used?
Sure. I did just a little bit of red and then more yellow than red. And then I added a nice scoop of white into that.
Okay.
And you want it to be like a nice light orange color, like a peach, a light pastel kind of peach color.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So we're going to be starting and kind of going petal by petal on our flower. We're going to start right here in the middle with these two, and that'll help us kind of branch off. We're going to try and go in the center as possible with this for when we come up with our Buddha head. So just follow the shapes as best you can. You know, feel free to make them pointier or rounder, however you're feeling. So I'm going to start right over here with this left petal, which is kind of like a teardrop shape. So I'm not going dead center because I want to leave room for those petals up here. And I want to make sure that I have enough space for this. So if I put my finger at the top of my canvas, my pointer finger at the top of my canvas, and like right where that fingertip ends, that's really where I want the top. I'm just gonna put a little tiny dot there. It's really where I want the top of my lotus flower to be. I don't want it to go any higher because then I'm gonna be smushing in the face. So just kind of give yourself that marker there. Then I'm gonna come down from that dot. I'm gonna say I'm going like a little bit more than half a finger, 3/4 of a finger, if you will. And it's going to be a sideways teardrop shape. So I'm just going to come in. You could always, bring it down lower. Don't worry if, we got to paint over those petals. Try and keep your petals kind of small so we can make sure we fit in all those petals. And then we're going to come over and we're going to do the same kind of shape, but a little bit like lower curve over here, but the circle part, the round part's going to meet up over here. So I'm going to come up and it's almost like a sideways comma shape, a bubble comma. And that's going to be kind of where our lotus is going to start. We're going to build out from the bottom here. So another teardrop shape kind of in the center of the crease of these two, a little bit larger. I'm going to come over here to my right. I'm not going to make the curved part. I'm just going to build off the side of that comma shape. I'm going to come down and bring it back up, meeting up with this corner that I've created here. Then I'm going to come back over here to my left side. And right where that crease is, I'm going to be making this big petal right here. This is going to be, if we think about the outside shape, it's like a football shape, like an eyeball shape, leaf shape. So it's going to come right into that crease. I'm going to go up and out and back down. Bringing it over because this is kind of like where the edge of my lotus is going to be. I'm going to leave some space on the side of the canvas, but I also want to make sure that it's balanced on both sides. So I made this bigger petal shape over here. I'm going to kind of split that in half. So this is like the opening of the petal in here. So I'm just going to go and make a little wave kind of line, but it's going to meet up with the crease of that petal or the point of that eyeball shape. Now we have a little bit of space over here to build. You notice that it's not completely symmetrical on both sides, but it's still balanced in a way, right? We're finding balance in things that are not completely the same. It's great. So we're going to go over here. We're going to make some smaller petals. I'm going to come into that crease. I'm always kind of building from the crease. And I'm not going to make the round part, but I'm going to go make like a V kind of shape. Little curve to the V, not completely straight. And then that petal, that small little petal that's coming over here, just going to be like a C shape that I'm connecting. And I'm not going to go in and make these fine detail lines just yet. I'm going to do that as I build up my colors. All right, now I'm going to move back over to the right side, start balancing out the bottom over there, which is just going to be that other really big kind of bucket petal, I'm going to call it, because it looks like you could hold a lot of water the way that we're going to paint it. We're going to go from that crease over here, and our shape is going to come and it's going to hook around beyond where the point of this apostrophe petal is. So it's going to come up and we're just going to kind of stop a little bit past and in where, kind of where I made that line. I'm going to start up there, then go up and swoop around right into the crease. I haven't made this petal up here yet, so I'm just going to leave that line kind of hanging out. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to split this. I don't want my split to come directly in line with this. It's not gonna really work. I want it to be like rounded over here. So I'm gonna follow that curve and then come down, and it kind of meets up with the side over there. All right, now we're gonna go up from where we started in the middle, and kind of we want to follow that little curve, that little tail that we made with our apostrophe petal. And that's okay if this line overlaps it, you know, you overshot it. I didn't really mean to make that line all the way over there. So we're just going to paint over it and no big deal. So we're just going to follow this curve up, make it kind of pointed and have it come meet back down right into that crease. I can blend this. Don't even worry about that line. No big deal. It's a great thing about paint. You just paint right on top. All right, so now we're gonna start kind of fluffing out the middle here. So we're gonna make, now I kind of went above my point a little bit. I'm kind of like right in line with that point. That's okay if you're there. I have a little bit of wiggle room, but this middle petal that we're about to make is gonna be, we want it to be our highest petal. So I'm going to come up from that section. I do have a little bit of space here. I want to have a little bit of space for that brightness that's kind of like shining up through the flower. So starting on this line, I'm going to come up and I'm making like that curve kind of leaf shape. And my point goes a little bit past, no big deal. And it just meets up right back to that other initial petal. Now on top of this petal, we're going to make another slightly curved kind of apostrophe, but it's also going to be sideways over here. So it's going to start in that groove and it's just going to kind of come up. I'm leaving space in between to make my little petals. They're going to be like peeking over the face. So this one's going to curve and then come back. And it's kind of, I don't really want it necessarily in line with the point of this. So I'm just going to extend that point over here and have that petal coming down to keep those petals nice and separated. Now I have this nice empty space over here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make that rounded V kind of shape. Up and down. Connecting almost like the middle or the front half of the petal. Not as much in the creases as I did over here. I'm just going to leave that open. We'll add in those color details later. Now coming up over here to our center petal, we're going to go in and make 2 little upside down V shapes in those creases. Feel free to keep them symmetrical or keep them a little bit more asymmetrical. Like this one's a little larger, this one's a little bit smaller. But, you know, I'm going to go a little bit more symmetrical up on the top there because I have good asymmetry going on the sides. Now, I feel, looking at this now, that I'd like to add another little petal over here, and that's what I'm going to do. If you feel like you have any gaps that are like, oh, this doesn't look balanced, like it's like heavier on this side, and there should be another one over here, feel free to add in a petal or 2 wherever you need. Just make sure you're leaving space around. Don't go too high up to the top, and you have some space on the bottom there. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to add another kind of rounded petal like that. Now we're gonna let this kind of sit and dry and keep that as our outline because we are gonna be going in with these purples. The pink would blend nicely with this orange color that we made, but the purple and the orange is gonna turn to this brown, and we don't want that. So we're gonna let that dry, and we're gonna start working up top to get this bigger area filled in with our Buddha head. So I'll give you a minute to finish up those petals wherever you'd like to add them. And I'm going to just wash my medium brush. I'm still going to be using my medium brush. But now I'm going to be creating a new color. So I'll give you guys a minute to catch up. All right, is everybody ready to rock on that background? I'll take this silence as a yes, and I'm gonna get ready to go. All right, so we're gonna be making a nice light blue color to lay out. What's that? To lay out our face.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Mary Beth. I wasn't able to get in. I just got in. It wouldn't connect me. It said wait for the
okay.
host. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So,
No worries. No worries. Sorry about that.
is that orange that you started with?
Yeah, it's a light orange, and we were just kind of going in with these teardrop shapes.
Okay.
And kind of like switching it up a little bit, like this kind of like a apostrophe bubble kind of shape over here.
Yep.
The outer petals. We started from the middle. We started with these 2, like back to back.
Okay.
Kind of measured at least a finger's length down from the top of our canvas to leave room for the Buddha head. So make sure that you're leaving that space on the top.
Okay.
And then you want to leave some space on the sides here. So best bet to start right here at these 2 back-to-back shapes. And then we're just kind of building off of those shapes.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I'll give you a minute to get that going. And we're just going to start layering in our Buddha frame here. So we're going to be making a very light blue. I don't want to use too much blue, so that means I want to have a base of white and a little drop of the blue. So that it is nice and light, lighter than a sky blue. So lots of white, little drop of blue. I'm gonna start with a nice light color and then build up our darks. And as we dry, we could always go back in and add in those brighter lights. Those are our like last details that we would get started with. Mary Beth, are you okay if I get started on that shape back there? Or do you want me to give you another minute?
Yeah, I'm just mixing the colors. You can get started though. I don't want to keep everyone. I don't want to hold everyone up.
All right, we'll just do some basic shapes. Yep. So we're gonna start, remember that middle petal right here. It's kind of like our guide here towards the center. And that's where we're gonna have the bridge of the nose. So we're gonna start, see mine over here? It's not directly in the center because if you remember, I don't really love perfect symmetry. I like things a little asymmetrical. If yours goes straight up, very cool. If yours doesn't, try to keep it as centered. If it goes like off to the side, we don't want the whole face to shift to the side. So just try and kind of align it maybe with the widest part and keep it going up. But we want to make sure that we leave enough space for those eyebrows. So it's really going to be this upside down kind of J shape, little rainbow shape that's going to start right here and just arch its way up and over. It's not going to go all the way to the edge. It's almost kind of coming in line with the edge of my flower here, right? Keeping that in line, even though it's going to kind of fade off into the side here. That's what we're trying to line that up with. Keeping that straight bridge of the nose and then arching up and over. So the harder part is trying to do the same exact thing on the other side. So my reference point is like kind of I look at the other one. So when I'm coming up, I know when to kind of stop. So I make that curve and try and mirror image the best that you can. And this one didn't come over all the way to the edge. And that's okay. I don't want to stretch it. I don't want it to like get too distorted. I can make this one go over a little bit more. So it gives me a little bit more space over here just to balance it out. So depending on how your petals fall, that's how you're going to want to work that. And now with that light blue color that we've created, we're going to go in and we're just going to fill in all the forehead and the bridge of the nose with that lighter blue. If you've been in the painting classes before, you know that I like to paint the edges of my canvas. So if you are going to paint the edges, make sure you don't forget the top. Paint that in. I'm not going all the way to the side with this blue. I want to leave some space. I'm going to do some blending. So I do want to get just like the almost the edge of the eyebrow with that blue. My paint's not too thin, but it's also not too thick because I want it to dry, but I want it to stay wet to do the blending because it's easier to blend wet paint than it is drying. So I'm not covering up that orange line, that peach line. Just going right to the edge. I don't have any white space in between. And I'm not gonna wash my brush, but I'm going to wipe off on my paper towel or maybe the newspaper I'm working on or my smock, whatever. Wipe off that extra paint and I'm just gonna dip it in some white I'm going to take that white. I'm going to go directly in the middle bridge of the nose. And the white's going to get sucked up pretty quickly into that blue. So I don't want to over brush it, right? I don't want to go blend it in too much. I want this white to pop a little bit more. I'm blending. I'm just starting to like build up these layers. So with my white, you can see I put some right there, but it's going to fade into that blue rather quickly. But the center, where your third eye would be, it's going to be that brightest area. So it's not going to get to a true white just yet because we are going to be doing the white dots on top. So we want to have a little bit of contrast in the background. So we don't want it to be pure white. We're just going to layer on a little bit more white down the middle now that we have some layers of white on there. Try not to get the orange in there because we don't want it to get brown. If it does, don't worry because you can paint over it when it dries. Just don't try and overwork it now because it's just going to get really muddy. All right, so now I have a little bit of white left over on my brush. It's okay. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start adding in some blue. This is actually a teal color that we're going to be creating in here, but I'm just going to add some blue to my brush now while this paint's still wet. And I'm doing a circle motion with my brush because that's the effect that the texture that I wanted in there. If you want to do X's, if you want to do very blended, very gradiented, then you can work on your blending. But I'm happen to like this, circle pattern here, this kind of cloud universe theme. As I get to the edge, I'm going to be adding in that teal. So I want to go to my other side before it dries and get that blue on my brush and put in my circles.
Jess,
Yeah,
is that just straight blue?
that's just straight blue.
Okay.
And I put it not directly on my light blue. I would start on the side. And as I get rid of a lot of paint, I move it over to where the light blue is. And then I just keep doing light circles to blend that color in. The less paint you have on your brush, the easier it's going to be for you to blend those colors. Hey, Mary Beth, how you doing?
Sorry, I had the mute on. I'm doing okay. I'm on the blue part now.
Oh, fantastic. Great job
Yeah.
catching up.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I did go in and wash my brush because now I'm going to make this teal color. Give this a chance to dry so I could go in and I could add these more fine-tuned eyebrow details. But I'm going to be coming up and over my edges and inside the eyes with the teal. So for my teal, I'm going to be using more blue than yellow. I need to grab some more blue. Hold on. Also, how did everybody do with their paint supply? Do you feel like you had enough paint for all 3 paintings? Was that, just want some feedback for the next kits.
I had enough.
All right, great.
I had plenty.
Fantastic. Good to know.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to be taking blue as my base color. I'm going to start with blue. More blue. I'm going to add in some yellow to that blue. Make it's like this a very dark green color. It's a little too green for my liking, so I'm going to add more blue. And then when I'm happy with my color, which I am really happy with, I'm going to add a drop of white. Remember, I always grab my white from the edge. It's a little too light. Small pile mixing. And I am digging this teal color. So I'm making a small pile so that paint stays nice and wet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in right underneath my eyebrows, right up to the edge. Really fine tuning those eyebrows in there. And I'm going to go and fill in the one side right now. If you feel like you need to get your small brush to get into like little maybe creases that you have in your petals, you know, feel free to grab that brush, make it easier for you. Just trying to use the very tip of this brush. And I'm gonna bring it all the way to the edge. And now that I don't have a lot of paint on my brush, I am gonna just circle right over that blue. Might still be a little wet, it might not be, but I won't have a lot of paint, so it's gonna be kind of more see-through, a little bit more opaque. Get those edges. It's harder to make a custom color, so while you have it, use it. And now while this teal is still wet on the left side, I'm gonna wipe off any extra big globs of paint. I'm gonna add some white to my brush. Just how like sometimes, you know, you put makeup underneath your eyebrow to highlight that bone. We're gonna take some white and we're gonna go right underneath. And if you have a lot of white, wipe off the extra because then we're just gonna just blend that down. It's nice, subtle little highlight under there. Gives a little bit of depth. So we just don't want to overbrush it again. We don't want it to get too sucked into that darker color because we're laying a light color on top of a dark color. I'm going to go in with some of that white, and I'm also going to go and I'm going to make this U, or this little squiggle kind of U shape for underneath where I'm going to be putting my eye. It's very faint. I don't want it to be too dark or too distracting. So just like a nice light layer. And if you have any white left over, you want to do a little blending on the side, you know, you get a little bit. I'm not going to go past that top petal because I'm going to be putting in purple over here. And you can see I layered into that lighter green to bring it up from the leaves. So I'm going to kind of just leave this space open like that. But I'm going to go back over to my other side now and do the same thing that I did on the left side to my right side. This is a good chance to like fine tune your eyebrows. We are going to be going in with some blue. So if your line isn't super crisp, don't worry because we're going to cover that up again. Just take your time. Remember, if you're painting and you're like running low on your color, you could add a little bit of water to that mixture to kind of reactivate it. Mix on top of the color that you made so that you're making the same shade. helps. Try not to cover over those orange lines too much unless you made a mistake and you're like, oh, I didn't want that there. Then cover it up. So again, I'm not going past my my petal over here. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. You know, however much you love that color, so much you could go down with it. A little bit more than your purple, which I haven't made yet. As I'm going up and blending over this blue, don't have a lot of paint on my brush, so it's a very light layer going on the blue. So let some of that blue paint that's already dry blend in with the teal overlay. So all over the edge of that. And paint my sides. Oh, coming in, sorry to block for a second. Okay. Make sure you guys painted. Great. Looking over here, not liking this corner as much. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to my brush. Gonna reactivate it and just blend it a little bit more. So it wasn't like such a weird shape. Just want it to be very, very gradual. All right, now I'm going to take that white on my brush after I wiped off my extra. Remember, we're working while it's still wet. So once you have that in, add your white. I'm doing the same shape over here. A little squiggle. Mirror image. Blend. My white's kind of going, hugging down the bridge of the nose. I'm going to be going in with that blue, so don't forget, this edge right here is going to become blue. So we're going to use our big brush for one more part, and then we're going to switch to our small brush for some details up here. If you have a lot of extra paint on your brush, just wipe that off somewhere on the plate. And we're going to keep the teal on your brush, but we're going to go in and we're going to grab some straight blue. And with that straight blue, I want it to be a little bit darker up on the brow. So I'm going to start on the brow and come down to the nose. So I'm starting on the edge of the brow, going right over that line. And as I come down the nose, I turn my brush. So I'm just using the tip of my brush so my line is not as thick. So I started flat. I'm going to get a little bit closer. I'm trying to paint up here. Started flat. And then as I came down, I turned my brush. So I was just using the very tip of the brush. Even though this is not the best tip, it's kind of open. You can use your small brush if you need to switch. Just blend that blue down. You want to do the same thing on the other side. So I started a little bit, not a lot of paint. Spraying that out. I want the end of the brow to kind of fade. So like you see, I just made this big circle and it's like, oh, I didn't want that circle there. So I'm wiping off my extra paint. And I am just blending it in. So it's a very soft start. It's not a harsh start. All right, now while I have that blue, see, I kind of went in the corners here. I added some dots. So I did a triangle of dots over here. So with just the blue, not too large. I did do a bigger one in the corner. You place them where if you have more space on the other side, put a larger one on the other side. You know, don't over decorate. You could wait until the end and see if you need to add some more in certain areas. I'm gonna do a 3 over here. I'm trying to keep this part symmetrical. So whatever I do on this side, do on this side. Balance. But I'm gonna keep just one over here. Haha. All right. So the rest of the work that I'm going to be doing up here is going to be with my small brush. So once you're done with your blue, you put it in your water. And we're going to move to our small brush. We're going to be making another custom color with our small brush. It's going to be this darker blackish blue color for the eyes, and a little bit of undertones in the brows. So I'm going to start with my blue. I only need a baby drop of the black. Not a lot of black at all. It will become very dark very quickly. If it gets too dark, use the trick where you take a scoop of that, move it to a new pile, add more blue to it. If you add white to it, it's going to become more of a gray. We want to keep it kind of dark. So just add more blue. If it just looks like black. We want like a dark navy color. So with our small brush, we're going to be going in and working on our eye details and putting in some of those eyebrow details. So I'm going to go start at that inner line that I made with the blue. And I'm not going to press down hard with the brush. I'm going to press very lightly so I get a very thin line. If you add a little bit of water to your brush when you do this, and you're working on a flat surface, that paint is going to glide better. If you're working on an upright surface and you add water, you might get drips. So just be careful. I use my pinky to kind of like balance my hand so that it's not wobbly. And I'm just going to go in this upper inner eye and bring that down like that. It's very subtle. It's a little shadow. Do the same thing over here. If yours gets thicker and you don't like it, you can add more blue, but you do want that contrast. Like step back from it and say, wow, that looks great. I'm so happy I did that. Now with that blue, if you don't have a lot of blue left on your brush, I could go in and I could kind of just do some wispy circles that are kind of going in with that pattern. Don't have to add in wispy circles if you don't want to. It's up to you. These are the wispy circles up close. It's just kind of our stylistic. I like it. I'm going to do the same thing over on that side because I did it on the left. And I add a little bit of water. So it's very, very light. Because I add the water, it's going to dry very, very light. Just kind of wanted to bring some of that darker blue that I'm using into the picture without it taking over the sides here. So I'm going to go back to the concentrated black-blue mixture. And I'm going to follow that eye curve line. And I'm going to press down harder with my brush because I want it to be a thicker line. So I'm going to work this way. Left, right. To get that thinner point, I'm taking my brush away from the canvas as I'm working. You always go back in, go very lightly. Do the same thing on the other side. And for that bottom, right, we have that, the white there. Gonna go in. I don't want this color to be as dark. So I'm either gonna add some water or the littlest baby drop of white. And I'm not gonna do the full curved line. I'm just gonna do the U part of this line. So just like a little highlight underneath that part. Now while we have our small brush out, go in and I'm going to add some smaller dots. Again, optional. You can add dots. You can not add as many dots. I have 3 dots in a line going up from the corner of the eyes. Just to bring a little attention when I come back and I do my white dots. Now, while we have our small brush and we have blue on our brush, if your green is not still active, we're gonna make that green. We're gonna just put in our leaves down here for as we start filling in the sides with that purple that we have. So I'm making a lighter green, not a darker green, not a teal green. So more yellow with my blue. And my leaves from my flower are going to start right at the kind of bottom point of this low petal here. Not directly at the point, but I'm going to make it a little like wavy leaf line. And that other petal is going to come in, wrap around from over here.
Jess,
Connect.
is this a small brush?
Yeah, I'm still using the small brush just because I have the blue on there.
Okay.
If you want to use your medium brush, feel free to switch back and forth.
Okay.
Jess, did we have a green or did you just make that quickly?
I just made it kind of quickly. Sorry.
That's all right.
I took more yellow, used a yellow base,
Uh-huh.
and added a little bit of blue to it to make a really bright green. And then my other petal, I don't want this space to be too open here. So my petal is going to start not directly in the crease, but this petal. This is like kind of where all of our leaves are going to start from. So I'm going to come in close to that crease, but wave it on down to the corner and swoop it back up. It's a little bit wavier on the inside of these leaves, a little bit more curved on the outside, but your leaves, you do them however you would like. And when you got those leaves in, I'm going to take a little bit of that green and I'm going to put in a little patch over here and a little patch over here to just bring it up into the top of our painting, connecting all of our colors. It's just like a little patch, kind of like whatever you have left of that small amount of green that you just made. You leave it not super even edges. See how my edges are a little swirly, a little jagged. Just like that, getting that bright green in there. Then we're gonna either leave our small brush in the water or wash it and put it to the side. We're gonna be switching back to our medium brush. Okay, so now we're going to be diving on into this lotus flower. This is going to be the fun part. We're going to be doing lots of color mixing. You can see that the bottom half here is the darker purple. Then we come to more of the pink purple, blending in a little bit of that orange color towards the top because our light source is coming from the top. It is darker on the bottom. So with your medium brush, you're ready to do some mixing. We are going to be making some purple. All right. So for our purple, we want to start with a base, like a big, a big scoop from your brush. Nice blob of that red. And add in maybe like 2 scoops of the red and 1 scoop of the blue. And mix that together. And if it's still looking very red, go ahead and add another drop of blue. We are looking for a more of like a deep violet blue purple. So if you can look up here, you can see this is a little too red. So we want to go more towards this shade of purple. So add in maybe a little bit more equal parts of blue and red. I did not add in my white yet. I'm going to layer in my dark purple and work on top of that and blend. So with my dark purple, I'm going to come in right over here. And I'm going to cover up that peach that I made. I'm going on the curve, my inner part here, right? This part that is going to be connected to the universe that doesn't have green attached to it, this line, that's going to be lighter. So I'm not going to cover the orange on this because I'm going to go in with that brighter pink to show the side of the petal. But I'm just almost going to kind of like hug around and leave an opening for me to go in and blend. I'm just layering that purple in, but not the entire petal so I can pull the color out. I'm just kind of moving across here. Add in a little bit on the top of this petal. Now I'm coming to that big scooped kind of petal on the side here. The bottom half of that is going to be that darker purple. I'm going to leave the inside is going to be more of a pink. And this way, by just layering in small amounts, I'm not losing all of that line work that I did before layering out each petal of my flower. You can still see my petals. I'm leaving spaces. I'm going to come in over here. So I hug this side. I'm going to hug the same side, leaving it white next to where my purple is. For this little swoop, we're just going to go over the outside line with that purple, leaving the inside white. And we got our other scooper petal. I'm going to go in and now layer in that dark purple. Leave a little bit of space so that you know where that petal line is. Like, it's okay to leave some of that orange because as you see, we're going to be layering on top. And I want to wipe off any extra paint that you have on your brush. Just wipe it on your plate. And you're going to add some white to your brush. And we're going to go in, not too much white. Don't make it like a big glob. It's not a shovel. It's just a little dab here. And we're going to go in and we're going to start below. And we're just going to kind of blend, follow that same curve, and blend in your purple. So the white, I'm starting it below where my dark purple is, and then blending over that line. So I'm just doing that where I layered in my dark purple. I left it a little bit darker over here. You know, depending on how you like your blending, you could do it however you want. All right. So got a little bit more to do over here. I don't want too much white again. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to blend it over that orange line. Oh, all right. Now I got a little bit of red on my brush. That's right. What I want you to do with that purple mixture, because you probably still have some left, is I want you to add some red to that purple mixture. So now we're making more of this maroon burgundy color. And we're going to kind of layer in some of that color onto our petals. And if it looks very similar, you know, add some white. We don't want to get too light down here because, as you remember, the bottom half of our flower is going to be darker and the top is going to be lighter. We're going to take some of that dark pinkish red, bring it in, and layer it, like, you know, put it in some areas. You really like it, you know. So with that lighter meaning I added red and I added a little bit of white. And I have now this lighter purple color. I'm going to come in, I'm going to outline that first leaf that I made. And I'm going to add a little bit more white to my brush. Notice I do a lot of layering on my brush and it blends on the canvas, kind of layering, like doing a drop of your dark purple and then maybe a drop of your white and then maybe a drop of that red. You get this cool blending effect on the canvas without doing a lot of work. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to come over here. So what I'm doing is now I got white on my brush, got a little red on my brush, got a little purple on my brush, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to do that comma. I don't want it to be as dark as that original purple, so that's why I have all these other colors on my brush. So I can see the difference when I go in and do the petal. Feel free to layer up and kind of like just do one brush stroke with it. Get a cool effect of all these different colors. And now I don't really have to go in and do as much detail if I don't over brush my paints. So now while I have this lighter purple pinkish color going, I can actually make a pink color on the side. So I'm starting to like just build this little palette of purples, darker purple, reddish purple. Now I'm going over here and I'm making a pink. So I'm using more white, a little bit of red. I get this nice light pink color. And I can use my light pink color now to layer in some of these lighter colors. Give this a minute to dry, and then I could go and fine tune some of those colors if I need to. So I have this lighter pink. I just want to see how it looks. I'm going to put a little bit on this Oh, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous, darling. So you can blend or not blend as much as you like. For over here and this, because the way that this petal is folded towards us, like our swoop ones over here, this is the inside. So we're going to be doing very light in the middle here. So I'm going to go and do light pink on the outside, covering my orange. I'm going to leave a little space and do layers of colors in over there. I'm going to go in. Now I did this bucket flower. It had more blue in it. It was like representing like water, different like earth symbols. But you could go in and do that with pink. I'm going to do that on this painting that we're creating together. You could go in with more blues. You could do blue on both sides. You know, just kind of showing you the possibilities. Now that you know, you can kind of layer in those colors. So I'm going to add in some of my pink. Don't want it to touch the pink on the outside, so I left a little bit of the orange. So I'm going to go in with some darker color in there. Add some lighter in here. Just a little bit of light kind of peeking through on parts of the petal, just kind of catching a little bit of light. Kind of following the curve of the petal too. So it's just because I have that light pink, I'm just using it because it looks lighter down here because it's paired on a darker background. So I'm just kind of, you know, popping a little bit of that color in wherever I feel like I need it. And that's going to be in these bucket petals. Remember, if you got a really small area, go in with your small brush. Use 2 brushes at once if you'd like. I'm going to go in, I'm going to add a little bit more white to my brush to make it a little bit lighter up on top here. It's a little bit darker towards the bottom of this bucket petal, right? Because the light is catching it at the top. So I'm going to add some white around this side too. And I could go in, I could add some of that darker red purple that I had. I know I'm just getting crazy with the color mixing. I'm going to go in, I'm going to add that right on the outside here. Picked up a little bit of that purple. It's a nice one-stroke blend. While I have my pink color made, I want to bring in a brighter pink highlight down here, covering up that orange. Pinks and purples, the orange can come more into play up at the top of the light. So I'm kind of outlining, I'm leaving some lines a little bit more defined and not blended, but other ones I am blending more. So whatever look you like better, just kind of go with that flow. We are, again, remember, getting lighter as we're moving up. So some of that lighter red, purple, kind of going to use some of that to go in and layer the bottoms of here before I add more white to my brush. I'll layer that in. So just trying to balance the colors on both sides. You know, if you did like this new awesome purple color that you made on one side and you're like, I love it, I want it on the other side, use it on the other side. I'm sure it'll look awesome. Take some of that purple that I just made, what I did over here. Again, like I just had Gotta be careful if there's purple. There's a little bit of yellow on my brush, and yellow and purple makes brown. So I didn't want them to get too blended, so I just did a few strokes and like left the natural lines of the petal in there. A little darker purple on the inside here. I think I'm gonna go in. I haven't made my peach color, that orange color again yet, because I don't want it to blend in with my purples. So I'm just layering in all my purples first. And then I can go back over with the peach. So here, I would like some more of the pink. So I'm just mixing some more white with my red. A bit more red. So it stands out a little bit more, right? It's starting to overblend. You notice I haven't painted this middle petal yet, right? Because that's going to be my brightest petal, right? I'm keeping that one open for business. I don't want to paint that one in yet. All right, so now just layering some darks around that petal. I'm going to go in now and add in those lighter colors. So I'm going to wash my brush whenever you're ready to get in those really, really light oranges and those light pinks. Like I said, the pink and the orange will blend nicely, but not the purple and the orange. So if your orange is dried from earlier, which it probably has by now, remember I'm going to take some yellow, a little bit of red, and white. Make that nice light coral, peachy kind of color. And we're going to use that to fill in our middle petal. All right, so when you're happy with your color, I'm going to leave the center of this open because I'm going to go in with white. So I'm going to take my new light peachy orange, I'm going to blend it in with whatever colors I left hanging out back here to blend it with. It dries. So any white spots except down here, that's going to be a dark spot. So I'm leaving that open. I'm going to just kind of like hug around the edges of this petal. I'm going to wipe off any extra, and then I'm just going to grab straight white on my brush and blend out that middle. Get some highlight on these middle ones if you'd like. A little bit on the bottom over here. Little highlights everywhere. Don't have a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm getting these nice, soft, subtle lines. If you think it looks too orange, you can always add some pink to your brush that has the orange. Make it more of a salmon. Define any areas that you like. right in the middle over here. All right. So this part is important. I want to make sure my brush is clean, paint-free. Little wet. Take a little drop of white, little drop. Now my whole brush is over, just a little drop. And even like wipe off some of that extra on my plate. And very lightly from the center here with the white, I want you to kind of just go up and lightly go up with that white and cover. It's almost like it's bridged together, the white beam going up to the center. So it's just kind of making that line a little bit more faint. So looks a little bit more connected. All right, cool. So now we have white on our brush. And we're gonna go in, we're gonna get back to whatever purples that we have left. With those purples, we're gonna start filling in the sides. You don't want it to be the same purple that you have on the outside so that there is a contrast. So make sure you are, your darker purple could go around your leaf. You got a lot of that dark purple left. And then go in with your light purple. Now, if your paint, it's a little dry, you can add a little bit of water, rejuvenate that paint. You can also make some more. Now we're just, again, I'm going in with those circles to keep my pattern all the same all the way through. You want to do really, really, really light circles. You're doing some other pattern, stars, something. Use your small brush if you need to. And I know I'm probably working a little bit faster, but I don't have as much paint and I don't want it to dry. So I'm adding a lot of water and I'm just kind of filling in those spaces, but take your time. Use a small brush if you need to get in those small little creases. You don't ruin all of those details that you did in your petals. We are going to be going in with our small brush and fine tuning some detail lines in those petals. So don't worry. And while we have the purple and we're working our way down, we want this to dry before we come down and do our universe. So we're going to grab some blue. We're not going to wash, but we're going to grab some blue and add it to that purple that we had and bring that down as you get to the bottom corner of your canvas around your leaf. Bring that blue up and in just a little bit. We're going to be going in with some black after we get the blue in there. So, oh no, I forgot a lot of purple. Okay. So bringing the blue in. And then I'm going to add the black to my brush. Didn't wash it. I'm going to start in the middle. I could add a little bit of water if I need. I don't want the black to overpower my blue too much, so I make sure when I get to the blue, I don't have a lot of paint on my brush so that it blends and I don't lose that cool blue color that was created from layering those paint colors on my brush. Always add more blue though. Bring that over and in. So I kept with those circle patterns even down towards the bottom, but if you don't like them down there, you want it more blended. Whatever floats your boat. Sounds good to me. Oops. All right, so I'll give you a minute to finish that up. So we're still giving our flower a minute to dry here. For when we go in and we do our shadows, because we know that black can overpower, and we don't want it to overpower all these awesome colors that we just made. So we're going to be going in and making our green for our lotus leaves. You know,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I was a little bit slow. And what did you put,
Oh, no,
what color
fine.
is that in the middle on the bottom?
This is black.
Oh, okay.
So the blue, like this was the purple, and
Yep.
then the blue, street blue started coming around the
Yep.
bottom of the leaf in.
Yeah.
And then I started with the black in the middle,
Uh-huh.
and then worked the black out. So I didn't have a lot of black in my brush. So when I mixed it in with the blue, it still was blue-ish black.
Got it.
Cool. Yeah, let me know. Because everybody's hiding from me tonight, and nobody's got their cameras on, and nobody's got their mics on, really. So I just don't know if I'm going too fast or too slow. But any feedback at any point is definitely appreciated, friends. All right, well, I'm going to give you guys a minute to catch up. And I'm going to grab a seltzer, and I'll be right back. If you did finish this part, we're going to be washing our medium brush, and we're going to be making a light green color for a base here. So if you are like, I totally know how to make a light green, I'm a professional now, Jess, that's amazing. Start making a light green, more yellow than blue. And I'm just going to grab a seltzer. I'll be right back. All right. So if you haven't started to make your green, remember it's going to be more yellow, a little bit of blue, a nice light kind of lime green, nice bright green color. That's going to come in and fill in those leaves. So the green line that you made, if it's not the same shade, make sure you're covering that. We're not having any space in between our background and our leaf. You know, and if you're like, oh, it's a little too bright for my liking, I really like darker green. Well, you know what? That's cool too. Go in with the darker green. Just gonna layer, and you like, see, I put a little bit of blue on my brush by mistake, too much, got stuck in there. Just gonna blend that in. We're just gonna kind of layer in the first light green, and then we're gonna do a little bit of shading as we work on the shading up in the lotus. So it's just layering in our paints. And this also, if you see a lot of like brush stroke marks in your leaf, you're like, ugh, I don't want those there. Well, we're going to be layering on top, so you have a chance to get rid of those. I kind of like, too, having it brighter on the outside, a little darker underneath, just like how my flower pattern or light pattern went. Do you have any orange from your petals still showing when you cover your leaves? Try and cover them with the green. You could always go in and do a thicker black outline because we will be doing a little bit of black shading down there, but you know, just extend the green.
Jess,
Yeah.
I do see more stroke lines from my brush on this. Is that because it's a lighter color, or what did you say to do?
It's because it's a lighter color. But we're just gonna kind of like put this like first layer in because it's flat, right? Like everything else we've done like shading and blending on top. We're gonna let that dry flat and then go in and add some layers on top. So
Okay.
don't worry about the brush strokes right now.
Okay.
So after you filled in your green, we're gonna put our big brush in the water, and we're gonna switch to our small brush. And with our small brush, we're actually gonna start at the top of the painting, adding in some of our lighter details. And then we'll go in and we'll do our darker details. Sometimes, you know, when you use black first and you wash your brush, it's not totally clean. So it's easier to start with the lighter color and then go to your darker color. So I'm working straight white here, not mixing it with anything, straight white. And what I'm going to do, so you can go in, I'm going to start adding these circles. It's a little more like kind of stylistic, right? I'm going to start with one circle in the center. You know, kind of make it the size that fits the center. It's not too big. Can you guys see my dot? Okay. And then I'm going to just continue that pattern. Whoop. We're going to do one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left. I'm going to be doing, so I have one down the center. I'm doing 3, you know, bigger size dots. They're getting a little bit smaller as they move away from the center. I'm going to do the same thing on that side. They're following the curve of my eyebrow. I'm just trying to keep them kind of the same size as I move away. Still in that little bit of that arch. Depending on how dark your background is, you might see them a little bit more than others. Now I could use the tip of my brush, the very, very tip, to make these smaller dots that are over here. Or you could use the back of your brush, the non-bristle side, and that will also make some very small dots. So these small dots, I'm going to have them go a little different than I have on my main one. I'm going to have them go 3 up, and they're kind of like windowing the blue dots, the small blue dots that I made. So you can try with the back of your brush if you like that technique. or go ahead and use the very tip. Don't press down hard. And that's how you'll get nice baby little dots. Now, if you feel like you like this white dot look, you know, mandala-esque, dotted mandala, I'm gonna add some, I'm gonna add a white line going down the middle because it wasn't bright enough for you. Go ahead with that white, add in anything else you would like on the top. You know, if you wanna like add a little design and these circles, you could go in and with the white, just hug one side of your circles. Just make them pop out a little bit more if they were blending in with that background a lot. And then if you go down to your flower with your white, I'm just gonna add a few. I'm gonna dull this down a little bit and add a little bit of purple to it. Just add in right on the top of the petal because that's facing the sun. Just add in like a little highlight around some of that petal to hide any lines that maybe were like a little wonky and you didn't really like love how it looked. Go in with that white and hide those areas. But try and keep it just on the top of the petal so it's going along with our light on the top, dark on the bottom vision we got going on here. I'm still leaving this space down here, this white little area. That's gonna be black, so don't worry about that. Add some little dots coming in the center here, going up like the little center pollen dots of the flower. So I'm gonna go in, a little white, and just have some dots a little bit closer together towards the bottom. And then they're kind of getting further away as we spread away from the bottom. You make as many or as little spots as you want. You don't have to add any spots. If you can't see my spots, let me know. I'm pretty closer. All right, and when you're happy with all the highlights that you've added in, you know, hugging really those tips of the flowers, especially towards the top. I'm not pressing hard with my brush. I'm getting really thin, fine lines up there. And now with the light blue on our brush, before we switch to our dark, I mean, the white, we're gonna make a light blue with the white on our brush. More white, not a lot of blue. We're gonna go down here into our universe here, right? So you can see here in the center, this is the center of the universe, this bright light. If you don't want to add that bright light, you don't have to, but we're just talking about balance and being centered. But I'm gonna go in and start layering some of those clouds. So I'm leaving a space in the middle here, kind of this beyond the center of this, right? It's kind of all aligned, just all these different shapes. And I'm gonna just go to next to it. I'm gonna layer in just like some squiggles of this light blue that I made. And then I'm going to wash the brush, get off a lot of that extra moisture. And then I'm just going to move that paint around. And it's going to blend that paint out. The key is having a little bit of water on that brush to really kind of fade out those squiggle blobs that we've made. So now it looks like these universe patches. And if you're like, oh, I think I have too much paint, add more water. You go out a little bit to the sides. We don't want it to like overpower everything. So keep it nice and light. And we still have that light, probably have no paint on our brush now, maybe like a blackish, bluish, but wipe off that extra. We're going to take some white first on our brush, a little bit of yellow on our brush, and we're going to make an ellipse or a sideways oval shape right there in the middle of that black space that we left. And if it became more yellow, sorry, just add some more white in the center. And the same thing we're going to do here, except we're not going to add water. We're just going to wipe off all the extra paint on that brush and lightly blur the edge of that yellow sphere, ellipse, oval that we just made. So it looks more like it's swirling in the universe. So if you have any purple left, you want to add a little purple doing the same technique, feel free to go ahead and add that in. You know, make it a little bit darker in some areas. Pop, 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 pop. Then take the tip of your brush or the back of your brush, and you're just gonna go and make little tiny, tiny stars. I'm like barely pressing down with my brush at all. That's how I'm getting these really, really fine tuned, tiny little galaxies. If I flick my brush on here, I'm going to get paint flicker all over my lotus flower. So I don't want to do the flicker. I can make some bigger and I can make some smaller. Don't press hard, and you get that really small, distant effect. And like I said, up to you. If you want to add other colors into your galaxy, feel free. I'll give you a minute to finish up those details. We're in the home stretch, guys. And girls and ladies, and I think all ladies actually. We're going to go in with our black down at the bottom here to bring that black from our universe into the flower. We're all connected, bringing it up to the light. And then we're going to do a little maybe outlining over here, add in any other further details and the leaf details. And we are going to have one awesome looking painting. All right, how's everybody doing? Is everybody all caught up and ready to go in for the final stretch?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
All right, so we're still going to be working with our small brush. So clean that off. Before we go in and start with the black, I'm going to add a little bit of blue like I did over here with those blue circles. I added a little white half circle to kind of make it a little bit more pronounced. I'm going to do that with the blue on my white circles. So with my small brush, nice thin half circle, I want to keep it on the same side. So I can either choose to do it on the same side that I did over here or the opposite side. I'm going to do the same. So I'm just doing a really small little half circle moon shape. That's just bringing these little designs to life a little bit more. Oh, now we don't have to wash the blue brush as much. We can just kind of wipe it off because the black is going to overpower any blue that's on there. We're going to get the black on our brush and start putting in our shadows. So I'm going to start right here in that empty space right below my first petals and just kind of go and fill in that triangle shape. And it's probably blending in or getting like kind of close to that purple color, which is great. And now I'm just starting to kind of fill in any of those orange lines I still see. But I'm going to also, remember how I went in with my highlights at the top? I did add a few black lines up in over here. This is a personal preference. If you like the light that you have at the top and you don't want the dark to go in there, don't add any black lines in there. But down here, we went in with a little highlight on those bottom leaves. We want the black to come from the bottom. So we're going to do opposite of where we did the highlight. So my black is going to come down over here. And remember, you could add a little bit of water to help that paint glide on. If you add water, more water, your paint's going to become more transparent. If it's more transparent, it's not going to be as stark or dark on here. So I just added some water, and you see it's almost like it blends in with the color that's underneath it because I added that water. So that's up to you if you want to add in more shadow that way. So I'm not pressing hard. I'm going nice and thin, 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 thin with these lines. Covering up any lines that maybe are a little wonky. Or maybe you had some lines that you forgot to cover up. Use that opportunity now. Any other flare or kind of detail lines that you'd like to add in? Keep the paint nice and thin. I don't have a lot of paint and I blend it out, I get more of that fade that I'm looking for. So I'm doing that on these bottom petals a little bit more. Bring that over into the flower. And a little bit over here to fine tune that edge. have such a hard time because I love outlining with black, so sometimes I just go too far. I'm gonna try and refrain myself right now and do it differently than I did over here and just keep it dark at the bottom and keep the light up at the top. That is my goal right now. Chime in if you think I should do otherwise, but that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so you notice like I left some sides natural. I didn't have that black outline around it. If you really liked your blending and you're like, I don't want to edit, don't edit. But with the black, the little bit of black that I have left on my brush, I'm going to go into that green mixture that I had. If my green mixture is vanished and all dried up, don't worry, you can make some more. But I want to make a green. It's going to be a little bit of darker green, that's why I got a little bit of that black on there. I like that, like a hunter green. You go in and just kind of like hug around the outside with my brush. And then I'm going to take my medium brush without any paint on it and take that green from the side and just bring it into the middle. So again, I'm taking my green, I'm putting it like in the corners and the creases where it would be a shadow paired up against my flower and along the edges. And then I'm taking my medium brush and I'm just kind of like bringing, it's got no paint on it, bringing that color in and kind of blending it. It's giving it a different texture. It's not as smooth, but now it's not just that light green that we had underneath, but we have this other green going back and forth, so the texture works really well. So you could go in if you feel comfortable with your bigger brush around and in those corners. But just make sure there's not a lot of paint on it when you bring it in and blend it. Getting the dark in those corners, wiping off my extra paint and blending it in. Just blending over that line. Now I don't have that outside line anymore. If your paint dried and you're like, ah, take some water. Excuse me, reactivate that paint. All right, now back to our small brush. We're gonna go in and add some of those leaf details. So we want a dark green, maybe more of a blue green. Let's bring some of that blue from the top down into the leaves, like we brought it up into here. And make more of a blue green. Kind of find your center. Make it a little wiggle. Give it a little life. Don't make it as straight. Give it a little swag. Get those lines in. Not too much of a swiggle, just a slight swig. And I made this teardrop shape. I'm taking the shape that I made from the flower and bringing it into the leaf to make it connect. So I'm just doing that teardrop shape at a small point towards the middle line though. And if you can't fit one in, don't squeeze it. Don't make it look weird. You can do different kinds of patterns. You can do whatever kind of pattern you'd like. You know, this one comes around. All right, and then I'm actually going to take some white on my brush And go in and fill that center with the white, but it's going to blend with that outside greenish blue that I made. So it's all coming together. All right, so friends, make sure that you don't have any gaps and spaces in your canvas showing as you're putting in this finishing details. If there's any other details that you want to add in here, you want to get more stylistic, you want to paint some more flowers in here, feel free. You want to add some more spots in somewhere, I could go in and just do something like this, just whatever you're feeling, whatever you think your piece of art needs. But I would really love to see everybody's when you finish. I know we finished a little bit earlier. We were working on a smaller canvas. And I wasn't sure pacing wise how it was going to go. But I'm going to put my screen to gallery view. And if anybody, no rush, but if anybody's done and would like to show off their awesome artwork, I would love that. And I would also love your opinion on which one you like better. Do you like the one on the right or the left better?
They're both pretty awesome, Jess.
Oh,
Much better than mine.
oh, thank you, Patty. Patty, I'm going to see yours.
You're gonna have to help me with the eyes, or maybe, I don't know why I can't get the picture up. I would show you now, but.
Is your eyes, do maybe they not have, maybe are they just like upside down, or are they like smiley faces instead of having like this little like curve part, the squinty smile?
My white line was too white and it's still there.
Uh-huh.
So I should probably cover it with a blue or something, or that turquoise.
If you take that if you still have your turquoise like base there, add some water to that turquoise to kind of reactivate it.
Yeah.
It's going to be thinner, but you can put that thinner color over the white and it'll start to dull out the white.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else, but I cannot wait for my allergists to be able to see me again. It will be a glorious day when I get my special nose spray.
Hey, Jess.
Hey. Oh, let me get back to gallery. Ooh, bring it closer. Oh, wow. I love it. I love how you have a lot more space at the top for the blending. And it almost looks like more like the sky. It's beautiful.
Hey.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Working on mine, Jess.
Oh, okay.
I
Love it.
a small person here.
You know, you could improvise if you're on really, really tiny little dots. You could always use a toothpick or something.
I'm really improvising.
You could have Meredith assist you with her skills.
She's just laughing at this point, which she rightfully should do. So.
Well, I would say this is probably, one of the harder paintings in the series of 3 that we did. I did save this one to the end after we've kind of Got used to some of the blending techniques and stuff I was trying to teach you guys. But this is definitely more of a challenge. Flowers are a challenge. Lots of colors to mix here too. Anybody need any pointers or have any questions with anything?
I'm good.
All right, fantastic.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome. If you don't want to show off your piece to everybody, that's totally cool. You could always just take a picture of your work and email it to us, which would be fantastic. We would love to get some examples of the adult class work that you guys have been making. But you can feel free to kind of log off whenever you want, work at your own leisure, add in as much more detail as you'd like, sign your work, and have a fantastic night.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my work.
Wow. Nice. I feel like I have only seen your drawings. I like it. I love the colors that you've made. That green and that purple. Pretty awesome. I think it would be a great piece for the front hallway.
There you go. We'll frame it and put it up.
Like as you're sitting around too, you could always go back in after it dries a little if you wanted to add more details, like add more whites in areas that are darker. It's hard when it's wet to really get those lights in. So, you could always like hang it up just like on the windowsill and just glance at it every now and again and go back to it. But otherwise, I think you did a great job.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll see you guys on Friday for our portrait drawing class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
Great.
good.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you. Bye-bye. How about you, Mary Beth? Okay. All right, friends. Great job today. And I'll see you for the portrait painting, portrait drawing.